United States of America. My son, he's been all controversial. I'll keep my freedom. I'll keep my love. I'll keep my money and my religion too. Now keep in mind that some of my guests have been approached by Homeland Security or FBI saying, why are you going on the Clay Dusty show? My message to those guys, if they're listening this morning, they'll get a cup of coffee that you'll learn from it. We both took the same oath. You know, it's a bit of the Constitution against all of these foreign and domestic. I don't recall there being an expiration date on that. I'm going to keep my NBA, keep my friends the same, keep the government out of my business, as long as keep the change. He is the free American, Clay Douglas. That's the Free American Hour, weekdays at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. For the podcast and more details, visit www.freeamerican.com or catch the podcast by phone by calling 832-999-8621.
All right, we're back for another 30 minutes or so. And what I'm trying to tell you here, folks, is that we've got some answers. There are moves being made by individuals like Sheriff Richard Mack, and hopefully we'll be able to feature some of his words. So you can see that on my Facebook sites. Facebook, Free American 69. And he has organized these sheriffs. Some of my other guests that I'll have on next week have done the same thing, working with the sheriffs by forming militias to work with the sheriff. Independent people standing behind a sheriff that'll stand up for them. And that's the kind of man that you have in Sheriff Richard Mack and his organization. He tried running for office. That doesn't work. Simply because they vet everybody. If you're for freedom, if you're not willing to pull a Dianne Feinstein, if you're not willing to do a Dianne Feinstein and put a bill to make it illegal, I'm telling you, this is what they intend to do. They make it, they just a stroke of the pen here is all they need to do. A stroke of the pen, and they will make you into a criminal. They did that to me for smoking a joint. They will do it to you for owning a gun. And this is what's happening. Now, let me see if I can pull up a little bit of Sheriff Mack at the pro-gun rally. Now, there was I started off with a conservative estimate of a couple of hundred, but I think there was at least 500 there. And I think Sheriff Mack was there, and another gentleman, Adrian Murray, and I'd like to share some of him with you too here in just a moment. Try to get those up. I've had all kinds of heck with my computer systems. We need a little bit of backing here in order to be able to upgrade and get better lines in, get things working. Alex has got a nice studio there, but I don't believe he's going to let me use it. And Hopefully these things will work. I was particularly impressed by Adrian Murray, so maybe I'll try to bring him up first. He's just a business owner.
Whether we know it or not, we leave our fingerprints on the fabric of time. I asked her once where she had found the courage to do what she did, the will to risk losing everything over what seems to be such a hopeless cause. After all, I had been raised in America. I had never known anything but freedom. I had never felt the tyrant's lash. She told me, you do not know what you have here. Never let them take it away. What she meant. But I do know now that the tyranny that my grandmother risked her life to overthrow is the very same tyranny which our founding fathers risked their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor. We can do no less. We must never let it emerge again. Shed our blood in exchange for our freedom. We are called upon, however, to honor the sacrifices of those who did. All those who now rest beneath flag-filled fields and cross-covered hills in every corner of this earth. We are called upon today to heed the warning of our founding fathers who knew that freedom could be a fragile and fleeting thing, who knew that if the people were not vigilant, that liberty could vanish like a puff of smoke in a warm breeze, and who knew that in order to defend a secure state, the right of the people, the inalienable, inalterable, unretractable right of the people to keep and bear arms, must not, cannot, and shall not be infringed.
Yes, an armed society is a polite society. Robert A. Heinlein, about 60 years ago, did a great thing on that. And I'm trying to pull something else up on Richard Mack. Let's see if we can do that this way. The point is, folks, people are waking up. They are becoming aware that maybe more is happening here.
They promised in God's name that they would protect and preserve constitutional rights, and chief among those are the Bill of Rights, and chief among those is the Second Amendment. It seems like the books I've written, he mentioned the magic of gun control, and that's it right here. And the magic of gun control, some people have actually asked me, well, do you think there's some good to gun control? And I said, if there was ever any good to gun control, it would be magic. That's the title. If you want magic, go to Disneyland or go see David Copperfield in Las Vegas. But I made up a new word for this book, and this book just came out a year ago, and it addresses every one of the issues that we're talking about today, including the mass shooting. It breaks our heart when we see those things. And we know that they could have been prevented, and a lot of these lives could have been saved had one of us been there. And I pray that we will continue to be a little bit more intelligent in our approach to how we protect children, instead of telling every thug and maniac and lunatic that our schools are all gun-free zones. How stupid can you get?
Well, that was Sheriff Richard Mack giving you his 2 cents. It's what I've been telling you for a long time. Now, there's 3 stages to every revolution, and many of us believe that the revolution has already begun. Historians tell us that the first stage of a revolution is a war of ideas, an info war, an information war. This is what I'm trying to accomplish on my website and this talk show. I see the enemy at the gate while most of my friends and neighbors are sleeping through the attack. We are in a war of words, and if we fail to use our words to awaken all of humanity, we are hopelessly lost, and the globalists will carve us up for dinner. It should make sense to you why 98% of the media is controlled by business interests, controlled one way or another by the members of the Federal Reserve. In order to win this fight, we need more people speaking out, making videos, calling mainstream media talk shows. We especially need to reach the police and military in order to remind them of their constitutional duty to protect the people against a tyrannical government. This is exactly what Richard Mack, Sheriff Richard Mack, is doing, and he's got the name, and he's got the ability, and he's got the speech, and he's got it down. So I would advise you to back him as much as possible. Now, stage 2 of a revolution consists of civil disobedience on nonviolent resistance. Thanks to Obama, he has given Americans a perfect pretext to begin to resist our criminally controlled government. No matter what gun control laws that Obama brings to the American people, all of us have a constitutional duty to disobey these unlawful policies. If this does not stem the tide of tyranny sweeping the country, then withhold your money. Stop paying taxes as much as possible. Do not shop in the corporate chain stores controlled by the Federal Reserve members such as Walmart or any other well-known entity. Shop local and begin to trade or barter with your neighbors and friends. Buy gold and silver and get off the corrupt petrodollar as much as possible. In short, stop feeding the beast practiced en masse. These financial practices are enough to bring a criminal government to its knees. However, if stage 2 does not bring the criminal banksters to their knees, stage 3 is unavoidable. That is direct physical confrontation with the powers that be. In this case, our enemies will be comprised of whatever minions that the Federal Reserve can bring to the fight. If Americans have done their diligence on stage 1, the majority of the military and the police will defend the people. However, they must know that the people stand with them. A successful revolution cannot simply jump to stage 3 without having progressed in the first 2 stages. The first 2 stages are necessary prerequisites needed to build a cohesiveness which is required to break out of the shackles of slavery which have been imposed upon our minds. When Stalin's forces were dragging a third of the Russians out of their homes, it was too late for the Russians to fight back because the ideological base of resistance had not been built. Therefore, it is the duty of every awake American to educate their neighbors, friends, and family, whether they want to hear the truth or not. Remember, an armed resistance will not succeed unless there is an attitude of defiance toward tyranny and the forsaking of the Constitution. This is why I am the free American. This is why I started the free American. This is, and I don't want to be the only one. I don't want to be the only one. I need you out there. You don't have to go along with me. You don't have to ride a motorcycle. You don't have to even like me that much, but you need to be able to read my book, Mystery Babylon, right here. Mystery Babylon, The New World Order Unveiled. That'll tell you about, we'll give you 20 years or more of history in this patriot movement and the moves that they've made to bring us to this stage today. Everything I warned you about 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I told you about NAFTA, I told you about GATT, I tried to tell you what it would do. And I can help you here. I can help you here. I want you to set up, I started this whole thing with a group called Wake Up America in Albuquerque. And I started that Free American magazine right there using the people that got behind me and Wake Up America. We started the militias. We trained on the NRA grounds up near Raton. And we made enough of an impression across the country with these militias to bring about Oklahoma City. What they did is ran their special forces guy in, McVeigh. They sent him in to pretend to be the militia, to try to be the white power so they could demonize us. Another false flag attack that again killed a lot of children. And ask yourself, if their office was there, why was no BATF agent hurt in that explosion? But another 20 children were killed, just like in Waco, and 1 year later. With 9/11, I had already made a vow that I couldn't sit back and watch something like this happen again. And what happened at 9/11 was another false flag attacks, and we've documented that. Dov Zakheim built remote control planes that were flown into it. You know, some employees were listed on there. We don't know any more than Sandy Hook. We don't, because we are not allowed to investigate. The police won't allow the investigation. And if you report from any other sources, other than the information that comes from the police department, who may or may not have been involved in the whole exercise, then you could be persecuted. You could be prosecuted. We could talk to the FBI about you. You're putting out misinformation. You're putting misinformation out on the internet. You're putting information out that didn't come from the government. That didn't come from anyone. Didn't come from anyone, but someone high up that is writing the script for this, and everybody else is following it to some degree of believability. And this, again, I've told you, Waco was a psychological operation to find out just how much you would take. What would you stand for? What would you stand for? That, again, is what's happening now, folks. If we are going to successfully fight back, it is now or never. Everything I've been predicting is happening right now. You need to start an email distribution list. You need this article. This what I've shared with you on the show is already in writing. It's already up on my website. There's links to it right below this show, so you can document everything I'm saying to you. You can pass it out to other people. You can help promote this. They block me in libraries. They block me everywhere. They don't want my information getting out. That's why they tried to kill me. You need to go out there and talk to everyone you know, and you need to tell them that Clay Douglas is telling you the truth here. You need to post short notices about the tyrannical government in in your community mailboxes. You be creative. Think of new ways to reach your neighbors. And by the way, buy guns and ammunition. Hide some of your guns. If possible, buy the guns off the book so there's not a government list with your name on it. When martial law is imposed, have a pre-designating meeting place for you and your family because cell phone communications may be down. Carry 3 days of needed resources in your cars because you cannot predict when you will experience trouble getting home. Form resource coalitions with your families and co-workers. Store resources at differing safe houses in your area with friends and family that you trust. Turn off your television, which only serves to condition people to the plans of the New World Order. Build backup plans for your emergency plans. Start preparing today like your life depends on. Because it does. Now, somebody else says, I won't be joining any revolution because the people in it will be fighting to establish some sort of government which is the source of the problems. Oh, they say it'll be limited, but any government that can take your money in taxes and put you to death is not limited in any way. They say it may be small, but only because it's newborn. Well, that's problems that we have to face. It's problems that we have to deal with. It's things that we have to think about, and that's what this show is about, getting you to think. Getting you to think. That's what the Free American is about. Now, I've worked up stuff. I've got books that I'll be publishing this year that I started writing 45 years ago, but it took me 45 years of research to really do them right. But it turns out what I wrote 45 years ago was very accurate in today's time. So, futurist, psychic, seer, a lot of names for people with a lot of talents. But you've got that talent. I want you to tune in on Fridays to Dr. Jake Wade, who will be giving you a sermon that you probably won't get to hear in your local church because they have disinvited Jake Wade from speaking at various churches because the Masons don't like him. And for you folks out there that think we're talking about 501c3 churches, well, we are. We are. But the trick behind having a 501c3 corporation is who writes your doctrines. Jake Wade can talk about the Jews, he can talk about the Masons, he can talk about politics, he can talk about anyone he wants because he wrote a 501c3. Now, he'll be the Way Church. He'll be speaking. Now, Friday nights, we've got the whole Truth Seekers meetings. Now, there's going to be more Truth Seekers starting around the country. We've got Truth Seekers International. We've got Truth Seekers in Austin. It's set up and operating on Facebook. We need you to start a Facebook. We're going to be doing a meetup group, and we'll be doing that around the country here. We just got to get enough funds in to cover that and pay for that. This is, freedom's not free, folks. We have been fighting this battle for a long time. We need your support. You need to buy books or make a donation to Clay at freeamerican.com. If you do that, you can request one of my books, one of my films. You can get a DVD. And we're also going to do DVDs for the church and some other things. Because, frankly, I don't want my grandchildren having to go to a school that may be locked down, that's got the doors locked, and as Richard Mack said, why would I want to send my kids to a gun-free zone? Yeah, hey, everybody, here's some easy targets. Freedoms are not free, folks. I am Clay Douglas. I am the Free American. Thank you for being with me.
Recording has been completed.
freeamerican.com